So today we've got part two of the alcohol and fat loss series. Yesterday I covered part one, and just to give you guys a little recap of that, alcohol and whether you should drink or not is not as much a yes or no thing as much as it is understanding what happens to your body when you do drink, so you can make a decision on whether it makes sense to have in your routine weeks right now or not. And also knowing how to diminish the negative effects, the runoff effects of drinking alcohol. A lot of times it's not even what's going on when alcohol is in your body, but actually your behaviors around the alcohol when you drink it or even the next day that can slow down your progress towards being in better shape and being in better health. Also, fat loss processes are put on pause. That's something you need to know. You're not going to be losing body fat. You're not going to be gaining lean muscle when there is alcohol present in your body. And like I just mentioned, much of the negative effects from alcohol, like eating more the day of, eating more calorie dense foods the next day, and also skipping out on your training in the gym, those can be a direct effect of alcohol on your fitness progress. And that's something to be aware of. If you guys want the notes from part one and you want to see the video on that, drop the word part one below and I will get that to you as soon as possible. Just in case we haven't connected on here, my name is Molly Van Marth. I'm an executive health and fitness coach, and I help executives lose the last 10 to 30 pounds while gaining or retaining lean muscle mass so they can get the toned look. Also, while optimizing for energy, because if you are an executive, you cannot sacrifice your performance to get into better shape and health, but getting into better shape is probably something that's very important to you. So that's the kind of stuff that I share, here. And hopefully this stuff is helpful for you guys, at least getting started on your journey towards getting in better shape and also getting into better health. So today we'll get into it. Again, this is part two. So this is going to be strategies to limit your alcohol intake without cutting it out altogether. And again, if you're like my clients, you probably encounter a lot of business dinners. Maybe you take your team out to eat, or maybe you just have social stuff that happens on weekends, and having some kind of protocol to follow is often very helpful. If you go into it with absolutely no strategy and no plan, chances are you're going to drink more than you meant to. And that can absolutely slow down your progress towards reaching fitness goals. So one of the biggest things you can do in a preventative way is just have a plan, right? Have some kind of strategy to follow. Thing I love about executives is you guys are willing to look at the truth, you're willing to look at the facts, and as long as you've got a plan, you guys are typically very good at executing that plan. So these are my suggestions for being able to enjoy a drink here or there, but not have it totally throw you off track with your progress. One of the big things you can do that will help you stay ahead is track your drinks in advance. Alcohol does, in fact, contain calories. Like I mentioned in part one, it's not the same as calories from carbs, fat, or protein. That's why people call it empty calories, is because alcohol is not really doing anything for your fitness when you drink it. Carbs are going to give you energy. Healthy fats can help balance hormones. Protein will contribute to muscle gain or hunger reduction. Alcohol is not going to do really anything productive for your body, right? It registers as a toxin or a poison, and your body basically shifts all of its focus to detoxing from that poison while the alcohol is in your system, okay? It's not that your body can't handle it. It's just that you need to know you're not going to be getting into better shape while you are drinking, okay? Anyway, long story short, you do need to know that it contains calories. And one of the biggest problems that people run into is they may even track. You've got to be tracking. I'll just tell you right now, if you don't know how much you're eating, you are not hitting any kind of goals. You don't have any targets set up for your food. How can you possibly lose weight? How can you possibly know if you're making progress or not if you're not tracking your food? So that's something that kind of has to be said even before I cover this first bullet here is if you want to lose weight, you do need some targets set up, flexible targets even, but you need to have something to aim for. And if you don't have that set up, nothing that I'm going to share here will help you. That's the first thing to get into place. Trying to lose weight without having some kind of target set up while you're losing weight, once you hit your goals, you should be able to run it intuitively. But in the process of losing weight, you need targets. And it would be very similar to, let's say you're not losing weight and you're not tracking food. It would be similar to running a company that is failing, that is losing money and not profiting, and also not looking at numbers, not looking at anything that's going on with data inside that company, going, well, we have employees that show up. My team's trying really hard. I guess we'll just keep going and maybe eventually we'll be successful. Same thing with wanting to lose body fat and wanting to lose weight. You do need data. You need targets to aim for. Okay. And long story short is alcohol contributes to calories. So that's something that you have to consider. If you want to be able to enjoy drinks, doesn't mean you can't have them. It just means you need to know that they add to your overall calories for the day. So If you want to have drinks at dinner, I would say in the morning when you wake up, go ahead and track those 2 drinks, track the drinks that you're going to have, decide in advance. And that way you can kind of work backwards up to that dinner and make sure that you keep some calories reserved for those drinks. Not a huge deal, just takes about 2 seconds to do that, but it will help you stay within your limits. And that way you can enjoy those drinks without guilt, knowing that, you stayed on track. The next thing I tell my clients to do is follow the rule of 3. And this really has to do with spacing your drinks out a little bit more. A lot of times when it comes to these social dinners, especially if you're not paying attention, it's common to order one drink and then immediately order the next drink. When you finish that first drink, you order the next drink and it's another alcoholic drink. Now, you can't even feel the effects of that first drink by the time you're ordering the second drink. So that second drink isn't really even helping you feel any better. It's just kind of an automatic behavior to do that. So what I suggest, because people often want to be able to have that drink in your hand, like it's kind of just a comfort thing. If you think about it, whether you're mingling or talking at the table, it's normal to want to have something with you to sip on. That's fine. But instead of immediately ordering that second drink, try to have 2 non-alcoholic drinks and finish them before ordering your next alcoholic drink. Okay. And that could be something as basic as water, soda water, or Diet Coke, obviously. Or if you're like me and you want to be a little bit fancier and have a little bit more fun, you could do something that is a mocktail. So you would pick a no-calorie base, which could be soda water, Diet Coke, one of my favorites, or some other diet drink. If they have Sprite Zero, that would make a great base too. And then you can spice it up with some garnishes, either a lemon or a lime wedge. You could do an orange wedge. I'm sure they would have that too. Cucumber, mint. I'm sure you guys can think of other no-calorie garnishes that would make that drink a little bit more fun. If you're me, then you'd put all of these in there. And that would actually be good for you to sip on something like that, right? You would finish that and have one more non-alcoholic drink before ordering your next one, okay? And again, that allows you to have something to sip on. You don't feel awkward, right? You're not the person there sitting there not drinking anything. But it slows down your rate of drinking. And again, you can't even enjoy the effects of the first drink if you immediately order a second one. So try it, see how it works for you. If you want to get really complicated or, a little bit more creative, you could even get liquid stevia. I have a link for it down here. Stevia is a no-calorie sugar replacement. I was going to call it an artificial sweetener, but it's actually natural. It's from a leaf. Totally safe. Lots of studies on it. That is something that you could also, if you were willing to bring something with you, you could add that to your drink. Comes in a handy little bottle like this, really small. You could stick it in a pocket. But anyway, that could be something you add to a mocktail as well. When it comes to ordering your drink and getting that drink, go for low calorie and certainly low or no sugar. That is really the biggest thing. So you could obviously use any of these mocktail, combos or bases or add-ins and add liquor to it. But the main thing is that you are going for hopefully one of the lower calorie liquors. So vodka, tequila, rum, gin, or whiskey, and making a drink with that. The biggest thing is, again, that it doesn't have sugar in it. Also, most wine, champagne, those are relatively low calorie. Or if you want to get really creative, you can deconstruct a cocktail or mixed drink and replace whatever the sugar aspect of it is with the stevia drops. Okay, so for example, a mojito is vodka soda, white rum, lime juice, mint leaves, and simple syrup. This is where the sugar comes from. So you could ask the bartender, leave out the simple syrup, and you could just add the stevia in yourself. Again, that is if you are willing to be really creative and do that right then and there. But if not, just go for something lower calorie. And again, the biggest way to reduce your amount of drinks is just to space it out. So follow the rule of 3, okay? If you want either the link to stevia drops, these are great in just drinks at your house too, whether it's coffee or anything else you're making. It's a great thing to have in your kitchen. If you want the full notes on what I just covered, or if you want the notes for part 1, put part 1 in the comments. If you want the notes for this, part 2, what I just covered, put notes in the comments and I will get those to you. Also, if you know someone else who would appreciate this information, a lot of people just don't have a plan when it comes to drinking. And I've noticed that with my clients, it really, really helps. So if you know someone who would appreciate this video training and these notes, then drop notes in the comments and I'll get both of those to you. Hope you guys are having a great day and I will be back on here again with more soon.